Hello, and welcome to my website learning resource. This video has been provided to give you an overview of the project. The delivery of modern education is a constantly changing process according to the technologies that are available and how they impact the learning of our students. Now more than ever, there is a need to ensure that learning is engaging, substantial and yet concise, and involving technology as part of that process. The Maker movement offers many of these benefits to students as they create something tangible, something that they can actually see the results of their hard work and appreciate the thought processes that have gone into creating it. Even more so if they have made something that can be of some sort of benefit to others. This learning resource has been developed in such a way that students will be tasked with creating their own website while becoming specialists in a biome region of their choice. Students then learn from each other's specialization by reading their classmates' work and making recommendations on their own page based on the quality. The tasks through the course of this resource have been developed to address the characteristics of meaningful learning while also progressing through the stages of Bloom's taxonomy to ensure that students are able to completely absorb the outcomes of the curriculum. This learning resource is based on the content from the School's Curriculum and Standards Authority of Western Australia, so any interested educators can be rest assured that this is in line with the curriculum. This next part of the website is where you can find details about the content. The content in this resource has been developed in accordance with the curriculum set by the School Curriculum and Standards Authority of Western Australia. If you wish to look into this further, you can find more information on the SCASA curriculum website for the K-10 HAS program. This resource is focusing on the sub-area of the Year 9 HAS curriculum as follows. The distribution and characteristics of biomes as regions with distinctive climates, soils, vegetation, and productivity. And that is as per the School Curriculum and Standards Authority of Western Australia. The website project will explain the aspects and relationships of a biome region of choice in greater detail than what is covered in the session learnings, turning the student into a specialist of that biome region. The course of sessions and the end product are set up in accordance with Bloom's taxonomy. The first session begins with students recalling what they have previously learned to build on new understandings. For the remainder of the sessions, the different aspects of Bloom's taxonomy are addressed in escalating order, resulting in the creation of the end product in session 5. Escalating the learning through Bloom's taxonomy helps to foster the development of understanding, reinforces the learnings, and encourages further inquiry and evaluation of these learnings. These sessions in the development of the end product are not only orientated to address Bloom's taxonomy, but also the characteristics of meaningful learning. Some examples of how the meaningful learning elements are addressed are, for the constructive element, the activity for session 1 calls on previously learned knowledge on aspects of climate and flora and fauna and are articulated to collect and build in further understanding in subsequent lessons. The cooperative characteristic. The group activity of session 3 requires students to share their new understanding, collaborate ideas for what could potentially happen if part of the biome system was changed. This enables each student to validate their understanding by building on each other's perspective. The authentic characteristic. The network mapped activity in session 3 is in line with the authentic characteristic of meaningful learning, as it requires students to apply understanding in a simulated context. They are building and transferring their knowledge from one aspect of a biome to another to create these links. The intentional characteristic. The project in session 5 is positioned to help develop students' skills in thinking strategically and planning to fulfill an intentional goal. And finally, the active characteristic. The discussion activity for session 2 is reflective of the active aspect, as students are required to take part in a discussion of how parts of a biome influence each other and formulate interpretations of how these relationships develop. The task of developing the website supports and reinforces student learning of this topic by encouraging further investigation and presenting findings in a categorized, coherent, and chronological format. Websites are generally presented in a similar method to a report, where the aspects and points of elaboration are sequenced according to how they flow from one to another. Rather than simply writing a report, students are engaged creatively to develop a piece of learning technology that will also better engage a reader's interest. The tasks that have been set up to guide learning require a degree of independent thought based on principles, cause, and effect. This encourages higher order thinking in the Year 9 students in a way that will prepare them for the HASS subject specialisation within senior school, that is, geography, economics, history. The language and concepts are maintained at a level that is easy to explain, but begins to introduce more complex vocabulary, ideas, and awareness of relationships. So, the technology that will be used to develop the end product is a website. The website is set up to encourage students to develop more technology. Nowadays, websites are being used more and more in the form of blogs, social media, and also informative purposes. And students are always needing to be more and more aware of how to navigate these websites. It will also be of benefit to students to be aware of how these websites are compiled. So, as a guiding tool, there are details on the project content page about what students can include as part of their final project. The breakdown is as follows. The students are required to have a minimum of 5 pages. The home page, aspects of their biome region, relationships within their biome region, further reading, and the bibliography. On the home page, students are required to introduce what the task is, their biome, and provide a small explanation as to why they've chosen it. They are also needing to answer the question of why is it important to be aware of our different global biomes and what is affecting them. As for the aspects of their chosen biome region, they need to give a brief summary of what that region is, where it is located, the climatic characteristics, the flora and fauna that can be found, the soil types, and any kind of human production that might be taking place. Relationships within their biome. They need to talk about how all the different aspects of their biome of choice affect each other and what sort of relationships there are between them. They also need to discuss how the biome and its ecosystem affects the global ecosystem. For the further reading page, students are encouraged to read their classmates' work and make recommendations and links to their fellow students' sites. They also must talk about why they feel like those resources are good for people to read if they're seeking more information about other biomes. And finally, within their bibliography is where they cite all their references to ensure that there is no plagiarism. Thank you.